Drake just got hit with another legal bombshell to kick off 2026, and this time, he's the one throwing the punch. You're seeing this right. The Six God just filed a 60-page legal motion demanding that Kendrick Lamar face him in court over Not Like Us, and the internet is absolutely losing it right now. This isn't just another rap beef anymore. Drake is literally trying to drag Kendrick into a courtroom, arguing that dismissing this case sets a dangerous legal precedent that could change hip-hop forever. What just leaked in this filing is about to shake the entire industry, and I mean the entire industry. Forget the diss tracks, Drake wants a trial, and what's in these court documents is something nobody saw coming. This is career-defining, legacy-altering, industry-shaking drama that dropped just hours ago. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and smash the like. You won't want to miss what comes next. Alright, so here's what just went down. On January 21st, 2026, literally 2 days ago, Drake's legal team filed a massive 60-page motion in Los Angeles Superior Court. We're talking about a document so detailed, so aggressive, that legal analysts are calling it one of the most significant filings in hip-hop history. Drake is directly challenging the judge's decision to dismiss his lawsuit against Kendrick Lamar over Not Like Us, the track that absolutely destroyed the internet back in 2024 and became one of the most controversial diss records ever made. Now, for those who don't know, Not Like Us is the Kendrick track that went nuclear with allegations against Drake. We're talking serious accusations that sparked massive debates across social media, the industry, and even mainstream news outlets. Drake initially sued, claiming the lyrics crossed legal lines. But here's where it gets insane. The judge dismissed the case, arguing that rap lyrics are protected artistic expression under the First Amendment. Most people thought that was the end of it. Drake would take the L legally, even if he won culturally in some people's eyes. Wrong. Drake is not letting this go. His legal team just filed what's called an appeal motion or motion for reconsideration, and it's brutal. The filing argues that the judge's ruling creates a dangerous legal precedent that essentially gives rappers a free pass to say anything in a song without legal consequences. Drake's lawyers are literally arguing that dismissing this case could open the floodgates for defamation, harassment, and false allegations hidden behind the guise of artistic expression. But it gets worse. According to sources who reviewed the filing, Drake's team is citing multiple legal cases, constitutional law precedents, and even recent defamation cases involving public figures. They're building an argument that while rap lyrics deserve some protection, there has to be a line, and they're claiming Kendrick crossed it. The motion specifically points to certain lyrics in Not Like Us that Drake's team claims aren't just artistic expression, but direct, actionable defamation designed to harm Drake's reputation and career. As of right now, Kendrick Lamar's team hasn't publicly responded to the filing. Radio silence. But legal experts are already weighing in on social media, and the takes are all over the place. Some think Drake has a legitimate legal argument that could actually change how courts view rap lyrics. Others think this is a desperate move that makes Drake look like he can't handle losing a rap battle, so he's trying to win in court instead. The internet is exploding. Twitter is on fire. Hip-hop blogs are publishing think pieces by the hour. And the wildest part? This isn't just about Drake versus Kendrick anymore. This case could literally set precedent for every rapper in the industry. If Drake wins, the way artists write diss tracks could change forever. If he loses this appeal, he's facing one of the most public legal defeats in hip-hop history. Let's break down the receipts, because this 60-page filing is loaded with ammunition. Drake's legal team didn't just file a motion, they built an entire case from the ground up, and what they're presenting is way more sophisticated than anyone expected. Primary evidence: the 60-page filing. First, the document itself. According to legal reporters who got access to the filing, it's divided into 7 major sections, each one methodically dismantling the judge's original dismissal. The introduction alone is 15 pages, and it reads less like a legal document and more like a manifesto on the limits of artistic freedom in the digital age. Drake's lawyers open with this: while the First Amendment protects artistic expression, it does not grant immunity for targeted defamation disguised as entertainment. That's the core argument, and they spend the next 45 pages backing it up with case law, constitutional analysis, and forensic breakdowns of Kendrick's lyrics. Now here's where it gets specific. The filing reportedly identifies 12 distinct lines from Not Like Us that Drake's team claims cross the line from artistic expression into actionable defamation. They're not just saying these lyrics are mean, they're arguing these lyrics make specific, false, and damaging claims about Drake's character, his personal life, and his business relationships. The document allegedly includes timestamps, lyric annotations, and even social media metrics showing how these specific lines went viral and allegedly damaged Drake's public image. One of the most talked about sections? The filing includes screenshots and archives of thousands of social media posts, news articles, and public statements that directly reference the allegedly defamatory lyrics. Drake's team is literally showing the court a paper trail of how Kendrick's words spread across the internet and allegedly harmed Drake's reputation. We're talking about metrics, retweets, shares, news coverage, even brand partnership discussions that allegedly fell through after Not Like Us dropped. Supporting receipts, legal precedents, and expert opinions. But wait, it gets even more detailed. Drake's legal team didn't just rely on their own arguments. The filing reportedly includes affidavits from 4 different legal experts specializing in First Amendment law, defamation, and entertainment law. These experts allegedly provide independent analysis arguing that the judge's original dismissal was too broad and could set a problematic precedent. One expert reportedly writes that the ruling collapses the distinction between protected artistic expression and targeted character assassination, and that's a direct quote that's already circulating on legal Twitter. The motion also cites multiple legal cases where courts have held artists accountable for defamatory statements in songs. There's allegedly a whole section comparing this case to other defamation lawsuits involving musicians, public figures, and media personalities. Drake's team is building the argument that rap lyrics can be legally actionable under the right circumstances, and they're claiming this is one of those circumstances. And here's a detail people are missing. The filing reportedly includes a forensic analysis of Kendrick's promotional strategy around Not Like Us. Drake's team is arguing that Kendrick didn't just release a diss track, he and his team allegedly engaged in a coordinated media campaign to amplify the most damaging lyrics, using social media, interviews, and music video imagery to ensure maximum reach and impact. If they can prove this was a calculated effort to damage Drake's reputation rather than pure artistic expression, that changes the legal calculus completely. The smoking gun, the dangerous precedent argument. But the real game changer in this filing? The dangerous precedent section. This is where Drake's team goes nuclear. They're arguing that if the judge's dismissal stands, it essentially creates a legal loophole where anyone, rappers, influencers, media personalities, can say literally anything about someone in a song or artistic work and claim First Amendment protection. The filing allegedly asks, where is the line? Can an artist falsely accuse someone of criminal behavior in a song and face no consequences? Can they destroy someone's reputation and career under the guise of artistic expression? That's the argument that has legal experts taking this seriously, even if some people think Drake is just being petty about losing a rap battle. The receipts are there. The legal strategy is sophisticated, and whether you think Drake is right or wrong, you can't deny his team came prepared.
The hip-hop community is divided, and some of the reactions are absolutely wild. Let's start with the celebs who've weighed in. J. Cole, who famously bowed out of the Drake and Kendrick beef early, posted a cryptic tweet that just said, "Art is a weapon, choose yours wisely." People are debating whether he's defending Kendrick's right to artistic expression or subtly agreeing with Drake that lines were crossed. Either way, Cole's staying Switzerland as usual. Joe Budden went off on his podcast, calling Drake's legal move the saddest thing I've ever seen in hip-hop. He said, and I quote, "You can't handle losing a rap battle, so now you're trying to sue your way to a W? That's not hip-hop, bro. That's not the culture." Budden's take is brutal, and it's getting massive traction with fans who think Drake should have just taken the L and moved on. But here's the flip side. Some industry insiders are actually defending Drake's legal argument, even if they're not defending the move publicly. Multiple entertainment lawyers have posted breakdowns on Twitter explaining why Drake's dangerous precedent argument has legal merit.
One lawyer, who represents several major artists, tweeted, "People are clowning Drake, but if Kendrick gets full immunity for those lyrics, what stops the next diss track from being even worse? There has to be a line somewhere." And the loudest silence? Kendrick Lamar himself. Not a word, no statement, no social media posts, nothing. His team declined to comment when reached by Complex in the Shade Room. That silence is either strategic confidence or they're preparing a response. Either way, it's deafening. Fan responses and social media eruption. Social media is absolutely imploding. Twitter hashtags Drake versus Kendrick and Not Like Us lawsuit have been trending for 2 days straight. The takes are all over the map. Some fans are roasting Drake with memes. One viral tweet said, "Drake really said, if I can't beat you on wax, I'll see you in court." That tweet has over 300,000 likes, but others are defending him. One thread breaking down the legal arguments got over 100,000 retweets, with people saying things like, "Y'all laugh now, but if Drake wins this, it changes how diss tracks work forever." That's actually huge. Media coverage and industry impact. Mainstream outlets are all over this. Rolling Stone published a deep dive on the legal implications. Billboard interviewed multiple entertainment lawyers. Even the New York Times covered it, framing it as a First Amendment case with major cultural significance. This isn't just hip-hop news anymore. It's legal news, cultural news, and it's dominating conversations across multiple industries. And here's what people aren't talking about enough. This could impact Drake's upcoming projects. He's supposedly dropping new music in Q1 2026, but now all the press is about lawsuits instead of music. Brand partnerships, streaming numbers, public perception, everything is affected when you're in court instead of in the studio. Let's connect all the dots, because this story goes way deeper than most people realize. Not Like Us dropped in May 2024. And it immediately became the most controversial diss track of the decade. The song didn't just go viral, it became a cultural moment. Kendrick absolutely eviscerated Drake with allegations that sparked debates, think pieces, and endless social media wars. The track hit #1 on Billboard, won multiple awards, and became Kendrick's biggest solo hit in years. Drake initially stayed relatively quiet publicly, but behind the scenes, he was reportedly consulting with legal teams as early as June 2024. By September 2024, Drake filed the lawsuit, claiming defamation and seeking damages. The lawsuit alleged that specific lyrics in Not Like Us made false claims that damaged his reputation and business relationships. Kendrick's team filed a motion to dismiss in November 2024, arguing First Amendment protections for artistic expression. In December 2025, the judge sided with Kendrick, dismissing the case and ruling that the lyrics were protected speech. Legal analysts largely agreed with the ruling, saying it was consistent with decades of precedent protecting artistic expression, even when controversial or offensive. Most people thought the case was done. Drake had lost the rap battle and the legal battle. The narrative was over. But then, January 21st, 2026, Drake files this massive appeal motion, refusing to let it die. And now we're here. The hidden connections. Here's what makes this even more complicated. Drake and Kendrick's beef goes back years. We're talking about a rivalry that spans over a decade, with subliminal shots, competitive tension, and moments of public tension at award shows and in interviews. This isn't just about one song. It's about years of accumulated animosity that finally exploded in 2024. And there's a business angle people are missing. Drake and Kendrick are both signed to major labels with massive financial stakes. Universal Music Group has ties to both artists, and industry insiders are reportedly nervous about this case, setting precedents that could affect how labels handle artist conflicts, diss tracks, and legal liability. If Drake wins, labels might start requiring artists to run diss tracks through legal review before release. That would change hip-hop forever. There's also the streaming angle. Not Like Us generated hundreds of millions of streams, which means Kendrick and his label made millions off a song that Drake claims is defamatory. If Drake were to win damages, he could potentially argue he's entitled to a portion of those earnings.
That's a financial incentive beyond just reputation repair. The psychological and personal stakes. On a personal level, this is about legacy. Drake is one of the biggest artists of all time, with a career spanning nearly 2 decades. But Not Like Us arguably damaged his public image more than any previous diss track ever has. For someone who's built an empire on controlling his narrative and maintaining a specific public persona, having that image attacked so brutally and having the attack celebrated by millions is psychologically devastating. For Kendrick, this is about artistic freedom. If he loses this case, or if Drake's appeal succeeds, it could set a precedent that limits what rappers can say in diss tracks. That's a chilling effect on free speech in hip-hop, and it's something Kendrick, who's built his career on uncompromising artistic integrity, would fight hard against. The stakes are massive for both of them. This isn't just legal, it's personal, it's professional, it's cultural, and it's going to define both of their legacies.
Look, if you're on Team Drake, the argument is actually pretty solid. Drake isn't saying rappers can't diss each other, he's saying there has to be a line between artistic expression and making false, damaging claims that harm someone's real-world reputation and livelihood. His legal team is arguing that certain lyrics in Not Like Us crossed from creative diss into targeted defamation. And honestly, if those lyrics do contain false allegations presented as fact, Drake has every right to defend himself legally. The dangerous precedent argument is strong. If you dismiss this case entirely, you're essentially saying rappers can say anything about anyone in a song and face zero legal consequences. That opens the door for abuse. What if the next diss track falsely accuses someone of a crime? What if it destroys someone's mental health or career based on lies? There has to be accountability somewhere, and Drake's team is arguing the courts are the right place for that. Plus, from a reputation standpoint, Drake's image took a massive hit from Not Like Us. And that's not just about ego, it's about business, brand deals, and public perception. If someone damaged your career with false claims, you'd want legal recourse too. Team Kendrick perspective. Now, if you're on Team Kendrick, the argument is equally compelling, but with some holes. Kendrick's defenders say Not Like Us is a diss track, and diss tracks have always involved exaggeration, harsh allegations, and brutal takedowns. That's the nature of battle rap and competitive hip-hop. If you start legally punishing artists for diss tracks, you're killing a core element of hip-hop culture. The First Amendment protections are real. Courts have consistently ruled that artistic expression, even when offensive or controversial, deserves protection. Kendrick's team argues, correctly by most legal standards, lyrics in a rap song are not the same as statements in a news article or public speech. They're understood by audiences as artistic expression, not factual reporting. But here's the problem with that argument. If the lyrics contain specific, false allegations, and if Kendrick's team promoted those allegations as truth through media campaigns, does that still qualify as pure artistic expression? That's the gray area Drake's team is exploiting. My analysis, in my opinion, Drake has a stronger legal argument than most people want to admit, even if the optics make him look like he can't handle losing a rap battle. The dangerous precedent angle is actually smart, because it reframes this as an industry-wide issue rather than just Drake's bruised ego. But culturally, this move might hurt Drake more than Not Like Us did, because now he looks like he's trying to use the legal system to win a battle he lost artistically. Within the next 7 to 10 days, I'm calling it now, Kendrick's legal team will file a response to Drake's appeal motion. They have to, and that response is going to be aggressive. Expect them to argue that Drake's motion is frivolous, that the original dismissal was correct, and that this appeal is just a publicity stunt. Kendrick's team will likely cite decades of legal precedent protecting rap lyrics and argue that Drake is trying to weaponize the court system against artistic expression. I also expect the judge to schedule a hearing within the next 30 to 60 days. Appeals like this don't move fast, but given the high-profile nature and the media attention, the court will likely prioritize this. We're probably looking at a hearing sometime in March or April 2026. Short-term consequences. In the short term, this is going to dominate hip-hop conversations for months. Every podcast, every blog, every social media platform will be dissecting this case.
Drake's upcoming music releases will be overshadowed by this legal drama, which could hurt his rollout strategy. Kendrick, on the other hand, benefits from this in a weird way. Not Like Us is back in the news cycle, which means more streams, more attention, and reinforcement of his victory in the rap battle. Industry relationships are going to get messy. Artists are going to be forced to pick sides or stay silent, and that silence will be loud. Collaborators, producers, label executives, everyone connected to Drake or Kendrick will be navigating this tension. Long-term impact. If Drake's appeal succeeds and this case goes to trial, it could literally change how diss tracks are written, reviewed, and released. Labels might start requiring legal clearance for diss tracks. Artists might self-censor to avoid lawsuits. That's a chilling effect on hip-hop culture, and it's something the industry will fight against. If Drake loses this appeal, though, his legacy takes another hit. He'll be remembered as the guy who lost to Kendrick on wax and in court. Wildcards. Here's what could change everything. What if more evidence surfaces? What if leaked DMs, insider testimony, or behind-the-scenes info comes out that changes public perception? What if Kendrick releases new music addressing this legal battle? Any of those wildcards could flip this entire situation.
What everyone's missing. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say. Drake is probably right legally, but he's losing culturally. His legal argument about dangerous precedents and the limits of artistic expression, that's actually solid. Courts shouldn't give artists unlimited immunity to destroy someone's reputation under the guise of art. There has to be a line, and Drake's team is making a legitimate case that Kendrick crossed it. But here's the problem. Hip-hop culture doesn't care about legal technicalities. In hip-hop, if you lose a rap battle, you take the L and come back harder with better music. You don't run to the courts. That's seen as weak, as soft, as violating the code of the culture. And Drake knows this, which means he's making a calculated decision that protecting his legal and financial interests is more important than protecting his cultural credibility. Who's really right or wrong? From a legal standpoint, Drake might actually have a case. The dangerous precedent argument is stronger than people want to admit, and if this case goes to trial, I wouldn't be shocked if Drake wins something, even if it's not everything he's asking for. From a cultural standpoint, Drake is taking another L. Every day this case continues is another day the narrative is Drake can't handle losing to Kendrick, so he's suing. That's the headline, that's the perception, and that's what's sticking in people's minds. Bigger implications. This case is going to force the industry to confront a real question. Where is the line between artistic expression and actionable defamation? Should diss tracks be legally protected no matter what they say? Or should there be accountability when artists make false claims that damage real people's lives? Those are legitimate questions, and this case is going to make courts, lawyers, artists, and labels grapple with them. Regardless of who wins, the conversation this case is sparking is important. Honestly, I'm conflicted. Part of me thinks Drake has every right to defend himself legally if Kendrick made false allegations. But another part of me thinks this is destroying what makes hip-hop special, the unfiltered, unregulated battle for supremacy through music, not courtrooms. I hope this case ends quickly, and I hope both artists get back to what they do best, making incredible music. Because at the end of the day, we all lose if the courts start regulating rap battles. Thanks for watching FameFeed. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications, and if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found.